we start with a story about Chofetz Chaim, and told by his son. So next story is Mishnah Berurah. And it says, my father's methods of the Torah study was the same all his life. He studied each topic in great depth, and as he strove to arrange the conclusion and deduce the halacha. He would begin with the earliest sources on a given topic. If it was rooted in spiritual verses, he would first study those verses and the sages' halachas derivations as found in the Mechilta, Sefer, and Sifrei. He would then study Targum and the commentaries of Rashi and Ramban before approaching the words of the Mishnah, Talmud, and their commentaries. In the summer of 56-35, which is 1875, my father took me with him to the town of Lipnishak, okay, some 15 miles from Radin, so it's Poland, okay. The son of my father, okay. He remained there for most of the summer, and it was there that he began his work Mishnah Berurah, as he dove into the topics of Tefillin and Tzitzis. Okay, so Mishnah Berurah that we use till this day. Baruch Hashem. So all right, so let's see what does the commentary say. Mishnah Berurah is Chofetz Chaim classic multi-volume commentary on the Orach Chaim section of Shulchan Hara. So it's only on one section. The Chofetz Chaim's opinions set forth in Mishnah Berurah and in its companion commentary Biur Halacha. So Biur Halacha, it's in inside depth of the Mishnah Berurah. I consider the final words on all matters regarding halacha of the daily living. So what Chofetz Chaim said, that's what we do. Basically, like even if Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, as we learned yesterday, there was some few places when Kitzur said one thing, but Chofetz Chaim said differently. Okay, so he's whatever he says, the final matters, final words. Many Torah luminaries reported to have said that the Chofetz Chaim exceptional tzidkus, the righteousness, overshadowed his exceptional genius in Torah, as plainly evident from the Mishnah Berurah and Biur Halacha. So, I mean, people see many times Chofetz Chaim is a great tzaddik, and he was a great tzaddik, but sometimes people forget how genius he was in the Torah. That's really interesting, right? So he studied over and over many times. It took him 25 years to write this Mishnah Berurah. Okay. So also there is there in Lipnishak, the city, was Reb Yehoshua, who had sold his business in Vilna at the age of 30, and who will spend his remaining 50 years of his life in diligent study of Torah. Okay, so meaning when he was 30, he sold Vilna, meaning that like major city, and he went to this small town. He and my father converse often during the summer. In many of their conversations, my father would open the volume Orach Chaim section of Shulchan Aruch at random and raise a number of the questions that related halachic queries on each paragraphs that lay before them. I mean, so if a person tries to read this Shulchan Aruch without commentary, I mean, some things you would understand, but without, many things like you read and a person would think you understand, then you start learning Mishnah Berurah, it's a totally different world. It's like everything becomes straightforward and clear. Okay. My father told Rabbi Yehoshua, these matters cannot be resolved unless one studied the topic beginning with the early sources. Without such a study, Shulchan Aruch remains a closed book. Right. Um, so he said that so Chofetz Chaim said that you must study in a proper order. So you start with original. If it has a clear verse in the what is it in the Chumash, you go to that clear verse. Then you do a commentary, Targum, Rashi, Ramban, and then you go to later authorities. Okay. So in order to understand the Shulchan Aruch, in my life, I do a little opposite, not a little, exactly opposite. So first, did not have time, right? So we do halacha first, and then when when you have the strong base for halacha, go back and see where it came from. But the problem is, I'll tell you what the problem is. Some people, for example, I learned this, and they did not cover this halacha. And we learned Talmud and said, oh, it's like this. I said, no, it's not like that. And the person said, no, but it says, I said, it says, I know it says that, but we read it together. But its halacha is not like that. Right? So if person learns sources without a final halacha, it's very easy to get confused. And especially if you memorize the discussion like in a Talmud or something, and it got stuck in your head, and you remember, so it would be a little difficult to adjust it, because halacha sometimes it's very different. Okay, but our sages derived from the Talmud, from the same place. Now Shulchan Aruch is a code of law written for every Jew. But is it enough to demand of every Jew that he fulfill that which is clearly spelled out, right? But it is enough to demand of every Jew to fulfill that which is really clearly spelled out. So meaning what? That Chofetz Chaim would open the Shulchan Aruch and start asking questions, right? Because some things and even he left some things unfinished, undecided, or said the word majority. So and that's now it's in some cases it's disaster, as this case, as we spoke before about misogynist pizza, misogynist rolls, all of the other cases, right? Because they say, Chofetz Chaim said majority. What is majority? 51% is majority. So, right. No, did he say majority? I think he did not even say majority. Majority, it would be very, very clear. He said sufficient amount or something like that. Right? So, right. Continue. So again, we cannot burden everyone with the task of studying each topic, beginning with the early sources, in order to arrive to halachic conclusion. The matter allowed my father no rest. Okay. He wants, if he has a question, so needless to say, we have a question, and people in his day and age, they have a question, and many books are very expensive. Right, so many people simply could not afford the books. Right, he once related to me that before undertaking arduous task of authoring the work of Orach Chaim that would contain halachic conclusion on all relevant issues, and which could be understood and utilized by virtually anyone, he placed the matter before many prominent scholars, asking for they should undertake the task. Let's try to explain. So Chofetz Chaim said, whatever it says in Shulchan Aruch, it's very nice, but it's not clear for simple people. Of course, Shulchan Aruch is genius, right? But for simple people, it's not so understandable. So he said, look, if somebody else wants to do it, okay, let them do it. Let them do it. Okay, so he went to all of the prominent scholars of his time and said, why don't you do it? And explained why it is important. Very interesting. While they all agree about the matter's urgency, right, each felt that he could not be the one to author such a work. One demurred because he was of his preoccupation with communal responsibilities. So if you have, like, especially in olden days, you have all of these, the big communities, and the rabbi was not like today, meaning that they were responsible for kashrus, for this and that. So people would come to them with a chicken, is it kosher, not kosher? So supervision of shkita, like unbelievable. So today we get it very easy. But in olden days, big community, he busy non-stop. With people, not with computers, but with people. And when you talk a lot to people, and especially when they have problems in their life, so it's very drain you energy very simply, right? So this rabbi said, very busy with communal responsibilities. Another, because of his ill health. With no alternative, my father approached this burdensome undertaking, which according to his testimony took 28 years to complete. He wrote, he took Chofetz Chaim 28. Somehow I said a few times like before, it's 25, but it's 28 years to complete this book. So people who said, who list Chofetz Chaim, one of the sources, it's like using one of the opinions. I mean, they're a little funny, at least to me. Okay. Unless it's not exactly like Chofetz Chaim decide, but it is a little different case. So it is, if the case is not the same, but a little different, yeah. So it could be like some other reasons to decide differently. Okay, one cannot depict the incredible effort that my father expended to strive to clarify the halacha for the sake of people, and the numerous instances decided between numbers of various opinions the given issue. So like if you look at the back of the Mishnah Berurah, there are so many sources. If you just read the names of the authors that he consulted, it's like, I don't know, 7 pages, like 10 pages, a lot of pages. I don't know how many, maybe more, even more than that. It's unbelievable. Just a list of the authors of the books that he consulted. All right. So if he read all of these things, right, and he thought over, and he derived this, he came out to this conclusion. So meaning that he knows what he's talking about. So one cannot depict. Okay, no, 1 second. So and plus he had to make decision, because many times, so all of these commentators were after Shulchan Aruch, or Shulchan Aruch did not mention these cases, and sometimes our sages even learn from Shulchan Aruch not mentioning the cases, right? So, for example, the last time I checked Mishnah Berurah was this morning. So somebody asked me a question about morning blessings. So it says, what it says. So thank you, Hashem, for not making me a non-Jew, right? So what the convert said, and I looked up Mishnah Berurah. So he said, for women it's easy. woman says exactly as she said. So thank you for making me the way you plan. But for men, so they just don't say it. That's it. Then I saw that there are different opinions, not in Mishnah Berurah, but in other sources, different opinions. Somebody says this and that. But when Mishnah Berurah skips this completely, he said if he would say it would not be true. So we know the answer, right? Okay, so continue. One cannot depict the incredible effort that my father expended as he strove to clarify the halacha for the sake of his people, and numerous instances decided between a number of various opinions on given issue. Never did he cite someone else's opinion without 1 second. Without researching the matter thoroughly. In many instances, he spent weeks, even months, immersed in a single chapter of Shulchan Aruch. Okay. So could you please turn off your microphone? All right, so we finished. Yeah. So that's Mishnah Berurah. And now they have They translated to English some time ago. I'm not sure when, some time ago. And now somebody did expand it. I mean, there are many commentators on Mishnah Berurah. It's very interesting. So